Please welcome Ms. Hana Zamri.
Hi, thank you for welcoming me. Thank you again for coming on a Saturday afternoon to join us. Okay, so first of all, during our panel session, I'd like to introduce your first panelist, Ms. Nawwar Shukriah Ali, or known as Bono. Okay, you can move right there. Present yourself. Okay, so she graduated with her bachelor's in architecture from UiTM, University Technology Maarof, and then she pursued her master's in industrial and product design from UTM, University of Technology Malaysia. So she is the founder of Stellar Design and Stellar Studio. Not only that, she also founded Make It Happen. So she had held several unique installations around Kuala Lumpur, such as at PAM building also, Persatuan Arkitek Malaysia, areas at Urbanscapes, and Warga Negaraku for Kumpulan Wang Tusara and KWAP. And several of her works has also been on TV, several occasions, such as the futuristic train, set design for AJL promo video, and Lawak ke Der set. So welcome Miss Bono. Let's call her that. So yeah, you can start with your presentation.
Okay, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I'm not used to speaking in front of a crowd. Usually when I hold a mic, usually I would sing or something. Okay, I'll try to speak. And also, sorry to frustrate you guys on a Saturday afternoon that I'm not currently wearing my crown as shown on the photo. Yeah, so over. Okay, a bit of an introduction about myself. Yes, I studied architecture before, part 1 in UiTM, and then I continued my master's in UiTM in product design, industrial design. But before that, I was also an architecture lecturer in Lim Kok Wing, and through that actually inspired me to continue my studies and maybe teach again later. And I've never imagined myself practicing as an artist or a designer full time. So yeah, it all started when I started Stellar Studio in 2010, and it was only a business, boutique. So I was an entrepreneur then, and then I became a lecturer, and while doing that, one thing led to another, and I just kept challenging myself and just jalan and do and move forward and just create and challenge myself until today. So it's always a beautiful journey of learning, and it's always a process of growing myself and healing myself and everything. So I grew up in Terengganu, Kuala Terengganu. My late father was an architect, so that actually inspired me to be an architect. So I wanted to be like him. I never got the chance to meet him. I never met him before. So and then my mom was an art teacher, so she was the one who inspired me to be an artist and enter all these competitions and just create and draw and everything. So after that, my mom passed away when I was 17, and then I was on my own. I studied architecture. I took architecture, and then I realized that, oh no, I'm stuck with architecture. It's a bit rigid for me. I was expecting something else, like more free, and I can just like draw whatever I want, just use whatever materials I want and everything. But suddenly, when I studied architecture, I have to draw all these lines, and I have to think of the purpose, the function, the space, whatever. So yeah, but later on, after I practice arts and everything, then I understand that I'm actually stuck with all this architecture knowledge inside of me. So it kind of mold my brain to think in certain ways. So I have to like create with this architecture knowledge behind me. Like I can't imagine if I didn't study architecture, maybe my art will be more free, more abstract, more not as structured as today. So actually architecture kind of left that impact in my head until today. But it's not, I don't regret that anymore. I think it's a blessing also. So I just embrace that knowledge now. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna move on with all the projects I've done before. So this is an installation actually for Urbanscapes last year, November. It was my first outdoor installation, and the thing with me is that I like to play with materials, the effect a material can produce, and I think people are more familiar with my work with how I play with acrylics, with how obsessed I am with acrylics, everything acrylic, the acrylic gear. So I try to move on from that phase also, but I'm stuck still. So the beauty of it is that with acrylic, okay, still obsessed about it. one material. I try to really understand a material, what I can create with one material. Can you burn it? Can you bend it? Can you paint on it? I just try whatever way that I can with one material, and then I move on to another material. What this material can create, and yeah, what kind of effect that you want created by that material. So last 2-3 years, I was obsessed with this material, iridescent film. So iridescent film is also known as dichroic film. Sometimes adhesive, sometimes you can just put on the window and then get that effect. It will create this colorful shadows, colorful how to say, like different angle you see different color. So so I try to understand the material. I bought some, I think I also learn from my travels. So sometimes I go to museums and see and understand the artist's work, or architectural buildings or whatever. And then I have one shop. I traveled to New York one time and I found this shop where they sell all these materials, and then they have all kinds of films, all kinds of acrylics that we don't have here. So those kind of stuff are the things that I actually brought back home. So I don't really buy bags or whatever. I actually bought all those materials. So I start playing with that material here with only 1 meter that I bought, and then I experiment with that, and then later like really wanting to explore this medium into an installation. And I was also inspired by a lot of artists. Like currently there are a lot of installation artists like Olafur Eliasson, more Sebastian Bachmann, all the architects that work with Olafur Eliasson. And then so this is my first back. It was actually my first outdoor installation, and I think the most architectural piece that I had to produce. So before this, it was more on set design, just interior. So it's kind of challenging for me to create something outdoor. And November, it's raining season and everything. So you have to think of the structure, the balance, the effect that you want. How do you want people to experience it? How do you want people to interact with it and everything? So it's like a walkway.
Okay, so Bono, let's talk about your ideas, your conceptual ideas about this project. Like, what came to your mind? What were you inspired with? Like we know, like the main thing is you look at the materials. That's the part of your process. But like, what else? Like in terms of the idea, the conceptual. You know.
Okay. Okay. When Urbanscapes actually approached me a few months before that, earlier last year, they wanted the theme was Reimagine KL. So they gave me freedom to actually translate that myself, like how I reimagine KL in future or at the present time or whatever. At the same time also, to me, architecture is more about purpose, aesthetic function and everything, but when design especially and problem solving. But in arts, then you can express yourself, you're free to do and just experiment with whatever, but still I have these two merged together, and I'm trying to balance all design and arts. Until now, I'm still trying to find that balance. And the idea for Arus, the name of the installation was Arus. So it was also during this healing period where I try to reflect myself, and I always feel like the beach or the seaside was my healing medium. So I always go to the beach to heal myself, to reflect myself, to talk to the sky, to the wind, actually talk to God directly lah. But it's where I find my peace and everything. So it's about, so the structure and everything is all about, it was inspired by the waves and everything, the currents, the flow, the uncertainty, the surprises that you have in life. So, and the materials actually create that dreamlike state where people will pass through and they can expect the same effect at every angle. They will be surprised by the journey that they go through through that tunnel that I created, the installation. So that was the idea.
Okay, so you designed the whole set.
Yes.
The installation. But do you set it up yourself, or you hire people to do that? Because like for example, the difference that from my experience from architecture and being an artist, architecture we design and then we have people to build the buildings, but being an artist, you make themselves, you make it yourself, you make your art. So how did you go about with this one?
Okay, so
where do you see yourself as a designer and an artist? How do you bridge that gap?
Like I said, I think it's in between that. I'm still trying to balance myself. I think I'm more comfortable calling myself a designer more than an artist. I'm still learning as an artist. I just officially practice as an artist also, like also Mr. Prof Jai will know that also, yeah. So I
Have a team.
yeah. So,
Team with
yeah.
you. Yeah.
So the process, as usual, I would sketch and just have a rough idea, present the client. As usual, like Pamela also mentioned that nowadays they all want something Instagrammable. The keyword is Instagrammable, and I had to also create something that's meaningful. I try to educate people, so not to just create something for Instagram. We don't create things just for Instagram's sake, and also other people should also credit some artists, try to understand the experience that they want to create and what you have to experience through art or whatever, not only for aesthetics sake. So I had a theme. Like usually all my projects, I have a few themes to work on each project. So like this one, yeah, usually I would start with the sketches, basic sketches, and then technical drawings, the measurements and everything. And I work with an engineer too to help me with the structure and everything to make sure it's balanced, because we had to apply for a license, so to make sure that it won't collapse, because I can't bear that.
Right.
Also, it's kind of scary. Also during November with the raining and everything. So yeah, and I was on site for 3 days to install this thing on site last year in Medan Pasar. Usually like that, like I work with a few teams and I have to monitor the process, the installations, and I totally understand Pamela when she mentioned about installing in the mall after, like only for a night, like overnight after the mall closes, that you have to work only from 10 p.m. to until the morning. You have that limitation. So that's sometimes you have to plan ahead before you install on site to know how to shortcut, how to cheat your way to make sure you can achieve that thing on site lah. So you have to really strategize everything beforehand. Yeah. Okay. So before that outdoor installation, I actually did some set design, and yeah, Make It Happen installation at Rio. So I created Make It Happen 3 years ago to help educate people, creatives especially in any field, to understand the process, the creative process, on how we create not only the end product. Like ideas don't come easily from Pinterest.
Right.
You have your process, and yeah, I try to help people understand the process and value the artist's work and designer's work. And besides that, I created set design and visual merchandising and everything. And it's always a learning process because it's all different. Like with visual and shops and retail design and everything, you have to understand the brand, you have to understand the the brand and everything. Like you have to understand, and you have to reflect back to the brand. Like right now, also I'm working with one store in Publica that I'll share soon. And set design, you have to adapt to what the client needs and everything. Like this one also, they gave me some reference from H&M, and they want some futuristic train set. And I think it's our responsibility to also say no to copying people and everything. So we have to educate, like, okay, I understand that you want this kind of direction, but can I have my idea this way and everything? Try to educate them that it's not cool to copy, but you can help them create something better with your own touch and everything. Try to make it more unique and everything. So it's kind of challenging to educate. Okay.